I will let you know that the position of the deputy president as enshrined in the law right now, which is powerful, almost half with the president, William Ruto is the last person serving under such powers. I'm telling you the powers that we will not allow any other person to have same powers moving forward, the same powers as the one that William Ruto has now. Is that through the proposed... I'm telling you that that office is going to be trimmed to pieces. It will be trimmed to its size.
Okay, so just for purposes of clarity, through constitutional amendment?
Of course. Okay. The law will be changed, and that is how it is. And I would like also to remind my friend who was calling me, maybe because of my orange colors. I don't know his name, but I will tell him, I am a political scientist. I have studied African politics the way it is, including military, how they operate. I will tell him point blank. Smart people never become presidents in Africa. There is no example. Never. If you look at the scenario for Kenya, when Jomo Kenyatta was getting in the position of prime minister, he was a nobody. Actually, Jaramogi was more wealthier, had a lot of influence than Jomo Kenyatta. Do you know that Jaramogi actually, at certain instance, even built a house for Kenyatta? We don't know. Kenyatta was a nobody when he was getting into government. When Moi took over, Moi was a nobody. When Kibaki took over power, everybody looked at him as a weak president. Oh, he will not finish his term. He's just a nobody. When President Uhuru was introduced into politics, he was actually a nobody. In the power arrangement in the continents of Africa, and especially third world countries, even first world countries.
Well, Tanzania is a great example of
even a nobody. Magufuli was a nobody.
And also Liberia, George Weah
was a nobody.
Through the smooth transition of former President Ellen Johnson.
Do you know the reason why those things work that way? It's so that you don't have somebody with the mind of Raila Odinga or William Ruto taking over power. These people can get power and they can go out of control. Everybody, even in our particular houses, there is a way the powers of a family operates. They will always operate at the father level. Because if you look at the aggression that William Ruto has and Raila Odinga has, such people, they don't become presidents easily. Because they can turn out to be dictators because they are revolutionary in mind. So they cannot, there's a mistake that happened in 1950s when the United Nations gave somebody a Secretary General with powers as the Raila Odinga or personality, like for Raila Odinga and William Ruto. What happened thereafter? This guy, there was an instance when he ordered the military, the UN forces, to go to a particular country to intervene without consulting the Security Council. Powers that control the leadership of a particular country or global politics cannot allow somebody who can go and do something without consulting them. And therefore, somebody with the personality of William Ruto, Raila Odinga, they find it hard to be president. They can only be presidents through revolution, through coups, and through assassinations. Nothing else. There's no other formula.
So you suggest because of the aggressive nature of their political mannerism, there is some sense of fear syndrome.
Yes, the fear syndrome. I want you to imagine, and even a caller who has made a call, that you close your eyes and imagine that now William Ruto is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Kenya. Tell me anybody who has a guts right now who can stand up even on a camera to criticize him. If right now Atwoli only gave an opinion, he came out the other day saying that his life is in danger. If right now Gideon Moi has not even declared his interest to vie for presidency, all guns are on him. And in fact, if there is anybody who should be given maximum protection as we speak right now, is President Uhuru Kenyatta. The reason why he should be given much security is because there are three options. Revolutionary or people with intellect like William Ruto become president. Number one, they become president through coups. Number two, they become president. Is that practicable
in contemporary Kenya? Considering the military build-up,
that's why I was listing them three so that you choose which one is viable. Number one is coups, which is not possible in Kenya.
Why do you suggest so? Is it that imminent?
Number two is the revolutions, which cannot happen in Kenya because we are fragmented ethnically. We cannot have one people unified to think the same. Number three is when somebody who is ahead of you dies. That is like Moi and Kenyatta. Those are the rare instances people as William Ruto, Raila Odinga can be president. And therefore, in my personal opinion, President Uhuru right now must be given maximum security.
Well, the president is by law unconstitutional entitled to protection. Once he's sworn in, according to the law, he is a state property. That's why he is under much security. So why do you suggest, is there some sense of fear that you're trying to instill here? Is a coup, a military coup, a revolution, or the third option that you raised? Yes. Is it that imminent?
I'm trying to define the personalities that we're talking about.
Okay.
And I do not want to dwell on that because that is my opinion.
Okay.
People like Raila Odinga, people like William Ruto, people with such personalities, with especially the backing of the poor. Let me put it clear. People who have the backing of the poor, majority, come to power when there is a coup, or if there's a military coup, there's a revolution or a military coup, or when the president dies, that's when they assume office by virtue of the law. Okay. That when the president dies, the deputy takes over the office. Only those three formulas. There's no other formula.
Okay.